Hello and welcome to today's episode of Graduate Career Launchpad, an interview series for students and graduates looking for the best start to their career. I'm Simon Gibson, Graduate Recruitment Director at Prospal, and I'm delighted to be joined by Jess Woods, Early Careers Talent Attraction and Acquisition Coordinator from New Zealand. So EY has long been a popular graduate employer, especially in New Zealand, where it consistently ranks in the list of the top 100 graduate employers. So today, Jess and I will be diving into what makes EY stand out, how students can succeed in the hiring process, and much, much more. Jess, thanks very much for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you as our first interviewee for this podcast series, which is really, really exciting. And thanks very much for your time. Looking forward to getting into it.
Thanks for having me.
No worries at all. So first of all, Jess, can you just tell us a bit about your role? It is quite a mouthful, Early Careers Talent Attraction and Acquisition Coordinator. What does that mean? What do you do?
Essentially, early careers for us refers to graduates and interns. And the coordinator part of that is sort of assisting our recruiters, our service lines in that attraction. So finding graduates and interns and making sure people are aware of us at EY. And also then hiring, the best people we can find. So yeah, lots of events, lots of interaction with the students, which is awesome.
Fantastic. And from a student's perspective, what sets EY New Zealand apart as an employer, especially for grads and interns?
Yeah, good question. I think EY is known globally. We're a global company, and obviously have this presence in many countries, which means there's the opportunity for mobility, global mobility within the firm. And also, EY has a really strong reputation as one of the big four accounting firms. So that's strong. I think what sets us apart, though, from those other firms is our commitment to diversity and inclusion. We've got a goal to be 50% female within the firm, and as well as our senior leadership. We also have micro credentials that you can get when you're part of EY, like your EY Tech MBA or EY Tax Diploma. So lots of learning and development opportunities within the firm.
Okay, fantastic. That's amazing. For the micro credential piece, is that open to people as soon as they start as a graduate or once they start with the business?
Yeah, yeah. As soon as you start, and we've also got like smaller pieces, which we call badges, which anyone can undertake. Sort of like you can pick ones out of interest, or you can pick ones that you think might help with your development. That are also little, tangible things that you can acquire as well.
Oh, cool, very cool. And if you're going to, I guess more to the recruitment side of things, what do you look for in a candidate?
Definitely, I think a big one is attitude. So we're looking for people who are coachable and adaptable and open to learning, as well as being resilient, because we know, especially hiring grads and interns, it's often, your first role, first time in the corporate world. So things can be different, might not always run the way that you're used to. So that resilience piece is huge. And some of our values at EY are around integrity, respect, teaming, like enthusiasm and courage. So these are all things that I know they can be hard to demonstrate during a recruitment process, but things that we do look for in a candidate.
Okay, fantastic. On the flip side of that, are there any red flags or sort of common mistakes you've seen grads make, throughout a recruitment process?
I would say recently, sort of red flags would be around the use of AI, which we're not discouraging from using AI to assist you in the process because it's an amazing tool. But I think the red flags come when it's being taken straight from AI or, not kind of twisting it and putting your own spin on it. And yeah, sometimes you'll see the little insert organization here left in the response, and that's quite a clear red flag. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think one thing I've seen a bit is, and more from a spelling point of view. So if they are, say organisation, they'll use a Z instead of an S. And obviously from an Australian perspective, we would typically use an S. And for me, that goes like, has this been generated by AI? You probably see those types of things as well if there's a written response or in someone's documentation. Okay,
Exactly.
so on the recruitment piece again, can you walk us through what a typical recruitment process looks like for a candidate?
Yep. At EY, we have the initial application, which will ask for your CV. We don't ask for a cover letter, so just CV and your transcript, and it can be unofficial if you're still studying. Um, From there, you will be sent a survey, which is like what teams you're interested in, so we can get an idea of where, you prefer to be placed, as well as a motivation response. From there, it will be over to an interview. So this will be an interview with people from the team in person, approximately like 45 minutes long. And it will be a behavioral based interview. So no technical questions. It will just be, tell us about a time when, those sorts of things. And also questions around like your motivation, career motivations, what you would like to do in 5 years, 10 years. As well as at the end having an opportunity to ask questions back to the interviewers, which we think is a great opportunity to get to know the company a bit more, get to know the people, and what a day in the life might look like.
So no, no online assessments, no pre-recorded video interviews, things on those lines. Again, which you sort of typically see in larger recruitment processes.
We do have one assessment, not it's not a psychometric assessment. It's more of like a job simulation. So yeah, kind of to give candidates a feel of what the role might entail, and what sorts of things you might be doing as a graduate. And there is one video interview question, but very short, nothing technical. It's more like a tell us about yourself question.
Okay, cool. So how long do you think it sort of roughly takes someone to complete an application if they were to sort of go start to finish in one sitting?
I, I would say the initial application form, like 10 minutes, if you've got your CV and everything written, very short. The job simulation part isn't timed, so you can take as long as you want. We just advise to get it done within 48 hours. But if you were to sit down and do it start to finish, probably like no more than 30 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. So not too long at all. And you mentioned the interviews. Is that a part of a broader assessment center process, or are they individual interviews? If I'm a candidate, do I expect to see lots of other people, or just me and someone from EY?
For us, it depends on the service line that you're applying for. Some service lines or most service lines do just interviews with yourself only and two interviewers from the team. But some of our bigger service lines, like consulting, for example, do assessment centers where there will be that group assessment kind of element to it as well.
Okay, cool. Are you involved in that process?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So if I was a grad or an intern, I might expect to see you there on the day.
Yes. Typically, I'm the person calling and inviting you, so I'll speak to you on the phone and then see you on the day.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And this one's not in our script, but I feel like I might ask it anyway. What sort of application numbers do you get roughly in New Zealand?
This year was huge. Around in total, we have usually we have like two campaigns, so a larger one in March and like a smaller one in July. And across both of them, we had over 4,000 applications this year, um, which was huge and yeah, more than last year for sure.
So grad and back, or was that just grads?
Great and back, yeah.
Grad and back. Okay. And roughly how many roles?
Don't know if I'm allowed to say that.
That's okay. No, that's all right. No, I thought, and sometimes I find it useful if people understand, that again, that we're sort of talking about ratio, but again, it's a competitive process, right? So you have to put your best foot forward, make sure your documentation's all in check, things along those lines. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Um, let's sort of fast forward past the recruitment piece and more about onboarding. What does onboarding look like, for the process for a new grad?
Well, at EY, we have a keep in touch program, which is, or we think is very important. Obviously, if you're applying for a grad role, sometimes it can be a year in advance from when you'll actually start with us. So that keep in touch program is a team of people within the talent team who reach out at regular kind of touch points, monthly. Reach out. We run events like post office celebration parties, different sort of events to keep you engaged within that time. And we also, onboarding once you've started with us, we have quite a thorough induction process over the first couple of days, as well as everyone who starts, regardless of rank, like regardless of whether you're an intern or a senior manager, everyone who starts gets paired with a buddy and a counselor. So a buddy is someone who has done their role before, might be like a grad from the previous year who can help, be that person for any silly questions you think you've got, or, that support person. And then your counselor is someone who's like a non-biased kind of career champion, someone who's usually outside of your immediate team, who's there to help you with, feedback and your development and career progression.
So nice structured program, nice structured induction. It really helped that transition from student into professional into the professional workplace.
Yeah.
That's really nice. And sorry, you might have mentioned, is that all done in person?
Mostly in person.
Yep.
Yeah, lots of the touch points between like the time that you accept an offer and the time you start with us is kind of online, but still in person pieces as well.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And I think that's the keep one place is really important. As I say, if you're running a campaign in March or April and someone at the start to the following February, March, there's a long time in between receiving an offer and actually starting. So that's great. You've got those touch points there to make sure they're really aware that the job's still there and they're still very much part of the business when they come in the door. Yeah. Excellent.
Like peace of mind, knowing it's not like you've accepted an offer in March and then you don't hear anything for the months and you're like, we'll still have a job. Like just to know that it's still in the process, we're still.
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. Jess, you mentioned earlier on about AI, and so I've got a question on that one. Um, do you see AI taking over graduate roles at all?
Definitely not. Not within EY. I know, if anything, it seems like it's starting to kind of make grad and intern roles more enjoyable as there's less of that admin work to do and, more of the meaty project stuff. Um, but I think also, as we know, AI doesn't have that people aspect, and lots of our work is client facing work. So it's important to have, people that can show empathy and communicate and have like the ability to champion people, which AI can't do for us. So definitely not taking over great roles.
Okay. Do you or does the business put an emphasis on people having AI skills or the ability to work with AI?
Yes. Yeah. I think since it's still very new, it's, quite impressive to us if someone is quite well versed or, um, is quite knowledgeable about AI, if they can talk to us about it, how they use it in their spare time or how they use it at university, is really impressive. And within the business, we sort of have our own AI we call EYQ, which is like our own one, so nothing gets out. But that's also still a work in progress that everyone's encouraged to learn, and yeah, pick up those skills.
Okay, fantastic. Um, I'm gonna and I'll go edit this piece in. Just gonna go back to the like the onboarding piece. Um, so the original question was, tell us more about the onboarding process when you grads. Um, is there a structured graduate program with rotations or mentorship?
Yes, structured graduate program for 12 months, and then roll off after that. So it's still like in full time employment, but just no longer classed as a graduate. Depending on the service line and the location is depends on whether you'll be doing rotations. I know our tax team in Auckland rotate, so grads will do 6 months in one team. They'll have a primary team and a secondary team. So the primary one is the one that they're with, day to day, but the secondary one they can sit in on the meetings and get some knowledge of that subservice line as well. Um, and then after 6 months they'll rotate, and then after both of their rotations have wrapped up, they put forward their preference to us, to, remain in that team following the end of the grad program. So yeah, some service lines don't rotate, some do.
Okay, fantastic. And if I'm a new grad, how would I go about building sort of building my networks within EY?
Great question. I think the obvious answer is getting a LinkedIn. Starting, just have a LinkedIn profile. Even you don't have to be posting, but if you've just got a profile, go along to campus events. Employers will come, to campus for expos or different club events. So go along to those if you can and ask if you can connect with people on LinkedIn from there. Um, yeah, just having those connections. I think you don't need to connect with someone on LinkedIn and have a conversation or have to ask for something, but just to have that connection, for future. And yeah, I think the events are definitely the biggest thing where we try to get out to a lot. So it's good to have people come along and engage.
Okay, fantastic. Some good advice. Any more advice? So anyone sort of early in their degree or early in that that process of looking for what that next stage might be once they finish university, basically preparing for their first professional role? Any advice you'd give students who are watching this?
I can plug at EY, we have a program for first year students called Career Compass program, which is designed to kind of equip those first year students with the skills to interview and to network and go into the corporate world if that's what they wish to do. Um, so that's open to first year students. But also, I think, regardless of that, just you don't need to know what you want to do. And there's no harm in, going to events and talking to people from all different industries or all different companies. And you know, get to be picky because it will be your place of work. So talk to as many people as you can, network, even though it can be intimidating. Us recruiters want to speak to you. So yeah, just get out as much as you can and take those opportunities to network.
Fantastic. And what's one piece of advice you wish you'd received as a new grad or starting your career?
I think I wish that I knew that it was okay to talk about things outside of university and work
Okay.
experience. Things like your interests or your hobbies, extracurricular activities, I think tell us a lot about your values or like who you are as a person. And that can be the thing that sets you apart. If you are an avid sports player, you're training twice a week, playing a game on the weekends, or you play an instrument, or you're volunteering all the time. These are things that I think sometimes grads think I won't speak about that because it's not a university example. But that's what we want to hear about because we can see your transcript. We want to hear
Why
what
do you?
else. Yeah, exactly. Who are you? Um, yeah, I think that's a way to set yourself apart for sure.
Yep. Fantastic. You just mentioned transcripts there. Is
Mm.
that or are grades and whether it's a GPA or a WAM, are they assessed at EY as a part of that recruitment process? Is there any weight sort of put on those?
We don't have a GPA requirement. Most often, the transcripts are looked at to see if you've done like specific papers that would relate to the specific teams. Not not focused on the grade part, just focused on whether you've taken those papers. More for like those niche sort of tax teams or audit teams. Uh, yeah, just to see that you've studied those things.
Yeah, as I said, saying what you said you've done at uni, like from a degree perspective. Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Um, Brilliant. Look, Jess, that's all the questions I have. So thank you very much for sharing all those valuable insights into what EY looks for and how grads can succeed. For our audience, you can explore EY's grad programs, upcoming events, and opportunities on their Possible Career site. So stay tuned for our next episode where you hear firsthand from a graduate working at EY in New Zealand. Thanks very much.